top tips for racket sports players, all right? So today I'm going to talk about some of the common things we see when it comes to neck, shoulder, arm pain for a racket sports player. So these are people who play tennis, squash, racquetball, could even be for golf as well because of the gripping of the club. So they'd be the main sports that we see this with. And just recently at a recent event, we saw quite a number of players coming in with different presentations, and on the day we were treating them so that they could play their game later on that afternoon. And we're happy to say that everyone felt a lot better after doing these couple of simple exercises. So the first thing we need to address is nerve tension in the arm, okay? So what we do is a very simple exercise, keeping your arm supported on the side of a chair or table at about this height, and you do these things called nerve flossing, okay? Movement, we will all admit, looks a bit ridiculous, but what you're doing is you're getting the median nerve in this instance, as well as the other nerves in your arm, to move and slide and glide, okay? One thing you should not feel is you should not feel tension or zinging or pain, okay? You should feel no pain, no zinging or nerve stretchy, tingling, pins and needles type sensations. So as you go over back, you do your 20 reps, side to side, okay? Pop your hand across your chest to make sure that you're not doing a side bend through your torso, which might be happening subconsciously. We won't let that happen, okay? And then I can guarantee you that arm will feel freer, okay? So that's just the median nerve. There are different versions of the same exercise for different nerve biases, be it the radial or whatever. They're less common, but still can happen, okay? So we'll just do the median anyway for the purpose of this exercise. That's the first thing. The second thing we see is that people who come in with tennis elbow, pain on the outside type complaints, they have very weak movement in this plane of movement, and they have a very weak pull, okay? So the unfortunate reality is this part of your arm is getting overloaded because there's a deficit here, okay? Simple as. This is the chink in the chain, when in fact this should be the strong part, okay? And that shoulder blade connects to the torso, connects to the tricep, connects to the elbow. But if the chink in the chain is the back of that shoulder here, then naturally there's going to have to be a compensation. And unfortunately with racket sports, you're constantly swinging, repetitive movements, it doesn't get a break. Okay, so the next exercise we would do would be a pull or a bent over row, it's called. Okay, so you can start off, this is a 10. Okay, so you do your bent over row in this position, pull up like this, slowly lower. Now you always see this exercise done correctly, or we always see it done incorrectly, which is this way. And that's not what the movement is. You set the shoulder blade, pull your elbow up, lower down, and this is called a high pull in this position. Okay, and that sets the blade in at the back, so you get nice work through the posterior deltoid and builds up nice strength in the back of the shoulder, okay? This tires quite quickly, and when it tires then, you turn this way. Okay, so 10 kilos is only Mickey Mouse weight for a male. We want to be building up to 20 or 25 as quickly as possible and as safely as possible, and that takes time and dedication. Female then, you might be starting on 7.5 to 10 as a baseline and building up to 15 to 17 and a half. They're just rough guidelines that we use for that robustness on that pull strength. Is that okay? So again, on the 20 here, nice and strong. 1, 2, you can see the control. 3, I'm working hard. 4, and I'm goose there, and I'm tired at that point. And then I'm going to finish in my strong low row position. All the time my shoulder blade is not moving, it's stable, okay? So there are bent over rows, single arm. Next thing we want to do is where's the bands? We want to do our, our bent over rows. So you might do, sorry, not bent over rows, bent over flies, okay? So we do bent over position, like an RDL type of position, push out to the side, press overhead, back in here, back down here. That's one repetition, okay? So from the front, set the blades, bring your arms to the side, press up into this position. So that's going to be like a Y shape, except you're down here, back in and back down. These are 2.5 kilo weights, down and back. Okay, so you get the idea. Smooth, controlled movement. If you're pressing overhead and you feel your shoulder waning, that weight is too much, you need to go lower, okay? And for that movement, we need to be able to control repetitions. So 10, 12, 14 repetitions per set, building up over time. Okay, next exercise we want to do is see a huge amount of people doing gym programs and sessions and stuff at home, and they're not doing any rotation through their torso, okay? So like racket sports are all torsion, twisty, turny movements, and they're not training that part at all. So we have to introduce like torso strength work, okay? So this is a simple pal-off press. You can do pal-off press to a higher position, to a lower position, to a mid position, okay? And the main thing here is that you keep load through that inside leg here so that you're not twisting excessively. Is that all right? So that's very important to generate stability and stiffness through this side hip, side trunk. So when you strike it, hit the ball, and whatever position you do, the top spin, slice, or following through, it doesn't matter. You stiffness through this, sinking between the hip and the torso, so you generate power into your shot. Okay? So that's your pal-off press. Naturally, you can do different versions of that, and you can do a split stance position. It doesn't really matter what way you do it, as long as you're feeling stable with good technique. Again, rep ranges, keep it low and controlled for lower rep ranges with good control at the start. So somewhere in that 8 to 10 bracket, 2 or 3 sets to get used to the movement. And then you can start increasing the repetitions, adding on numbers of sets, adding on extra weight as you feel you've got the control. Okay? So that was one major thing. And then again, traditional leg strength exercises. Everyone does squats, lunges, and those type of things, but they don't really do many single leg RDLs, you know. So single leg RDL is a beautiful exercise. It generates a lot of hip control, spinal control, okay, and as well as hamstring lengthening and strengthening. So it ticks a lot of boxes. And then if you add on a bit of weight onto the equation, if you go single leg RDL like this, for example, hands on the hips, hinge forward and back, okay? So you're keeping a nice flat, kick this leg back, hinge forwards the whole way and back again. You should feel that on the hamstring. And then again, you add on a little bit of weight, whatever you're able for, to the arm, and then off you go. Back up again. Really controlling that weight. And it's generating huge stability control through the hips, which is where you need it. Because every time you're going into a lunge and a strike off either leg, or a lunge and a reach this way, you're challenging those systems exactly. So there's a couple of essential exercises that we saw that people were not doing in their programs over the last few weeks when working with racket sports players. So if you like what you're seeing, please share it with a buddy, or tag a friend, or share it with your club members. That would be great. And stay tuned for more info. Take it easy. Move well, feel well, be well.